I have a wonderful and an informative show for you today. My first guest, Ellis Lidell, is going to talk to us about a lot of things finance, not everything, because I have to have him come back so we could get the rest of it. And then I have the great Mr. James Tatum on to talk to you about a very special event. So first, I'd like to recognize my first guest, Mr. Ellis Liddell. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Let me just start with that. And you're glowing with that red.
Uh, when can you come back? No, I
that's twice. That's twice in 30 seconds. So it looks like I'll be back.
wow. Well, your reputation precedes you, and I've heard you talk, and I've been wanting you on the show for a long time, and it only took me a year, but part of it was my slip. But I wanted to tell you there's so much we can learn from you. You have a lot of things coming up, but why don't you give us quickly a little of your background?
Okay. I grew up in Utica, Mississippi, a small town of 800 people. Was very
800.
fortunate to get
Did
out of there.
everybody knew each other?
Everybody knew everybody.
You couldn't do nothing in the dark.
There was no dark. So grew up in Mississippi, went to Mississippi College. It was actually a Bible school, but they offered me a full scholarship in track and field.
Oh, wonderful.
And so my legs took me around the world.
Yes.
And my brain continued to take me after my legs ran out. So
When did you come here?
I got here 14 years ago. It'll be 15 December 26th.
Uh-huh.
However, I had a destiny with Detroit. My aunt, my mother got pregnant in high school, and
Uh-huh.
she had to literally wrap her stomach because they put girls out of high school back in the 50s who were pregnant.
Uh-huh.
I think they send them to alternative schools today. So it's
Yeah.
still. So, I came here being covered up. So my aunt from Detroit, whose husband worked in the factory, said, "We'll take Ellis." She named me.
Really?
And my mother said yes, and they were going to pay for her to go to college and everything, and she saw me and backed out. Best decision she ever made.
Yes.
Because it set the stage for a whole different kind of life, but I ended up in Detroit after all.
Yes, that was your destiny
It was my
anyway.
destiny. I was supposed to be here, without a doubt, because from the moment I walked into Detroit, everything just opened itself up to me. The doors opened. I ended up on the Mildred Gaddis show, been there for 14 years, have informed thousands of people in those seminars, and it's just the rest is history, as they say.
Right. And one thing I do love about you is the information. I believe that everyone should give information away. Nobody does everything the same way anyway.
Right.
But when you have information, information is power.
And you know what? For the 14 years, I've never charged a consultation fee. And
Really.
people go, "Well, how do you make money?" I said, "Because some of those people actually like me enough to retire and roll over their assets and let us manage those assets. So we manage hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
So I love the idea of you come into the office, there's no charge ever, and we're going to give you I give you everything. I pour out my soul. Everything that God gives me for you, I give it to you.
Absolutely. And that is the blessing.
Yeah. And I allow him to pay me
Right.
because
Right.
he has all the resources.
All of them. All of them. And that's very good of you. I'm just saying good as I want to say superior of
Right.
you because you know where your blessings come from.
Right. I do.
So, okay. So the name of your company is
ELE Wealth Management, and that stands for Ellis Lidell Enterprises, which was the first company I started back in 1993. It was a speakers bureau. I booked Les Brown to his first $40,000 engagement, which he wanted 40 grand for speaking. I booked him to go to Bermuda. The event made $400,000, so we paid him 10%. He at the time was engaged to Gladys Knight. So the premier of the country came out, which is the governor. He came out and was part of the event. So when he comes out, everybody comes out. So Maya Angelou booked her to the event right after she did the I'm a Poet speech at the White House.
yes.
So the Speakers Bureau worked, but my love was finance. I used to read books about money when I was a little boy, and I wanted someday to do something with finance. So I became a stockbroker and went on from a stockbroker to a financial planner to a financial advisor to now a wealth coach.
And the operative word is wealth. So you offer many different services. Would you quickly tell us?
Yes. So it's the ELE family of companies. So I own a mortgage company, I own an insurance company, I own a broker-dealer. I'm one of the few African Americans to own a broker-dealer in the United States.
Really?
Yes, very, very special. There are a whole lot of vetting to get that particular one.
Yes.
And on top of that, we also own a mortgage company. So I own a lot of stuff.
Yes, yes, but like you don't keep it under a rock. You let
No,
people know.
I share everything, and I've been very fortunate. Information, I absorb information pretty easily, so I'm able to pass tests, standardized tests,
Right.
and that's a huge.
That's something that a lot of people can't do.
Right.
I'm the person who thinks outside of the box. You know, art is my deal, drama and so forth. And so it's hard for me. Standardized tests are so succinct.
Right.
But if you give me something to write, I can do it all over
There you
the
go.
place. So everybody has their different gifts.
It's true.
And if
And
everyone
speaking of writing, I have a book, Wealth Management: Merging Faith with Finance,
that you didn't bring,
that I didn't bring.
but you'll bring it next time.
I'll bring it next time, and I'm also working on another book called Living the Infinity Life. In other words, living a boundless life.
Right.
Where that you can have whatever you want if you talk to enough people. If you help, a guy told me one time, he said, Ellis, if you help enough people to have what they want, you will always have what you want.
Absolutely. 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 I think we can talk about that because I could see the type of person you are. So I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
There are a lot of people, retirees and so forth, who are on limited or fixed incomes. What are the best ways for them to save a little? Can they still save?
You know what? When people hear you say the word save, they think of two things. So I'm gonna play two dynamics for you.
Please.
The person who has traditionally worked a job and who've been kind of in that box that you just described earlier, and they didn't get to go outside the box by having rental property and other ways, sources, that person thinks budget. Save to them, you say the word save, they hear budget. You talk to a person who's wealthy and you say, can you save $500? They think additional income source, another revenue source. So the person who's wealthy is outside that box. They say, well, you know what? I'll get an intern, I'll give them a position, and I'll allow that intern to make some money for me. And I'll take half of what the intern is generating and I'll give it to you to invest. But a person who's been in that box, that corporate box all their life, they think, what can I cut in order to be able to have the savings that Ms. Lidell needs?
Right, right, right.
And my job is to free people up to think outside of that box. Back to your whole point.
So what kinds of things do you tell them?
You know what? The biggest challenge with most people is they don't view savings as important as buying a set of pearls. Savings has to be
What are you
just as
saying?
important.
No, I'm just.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
it just has to be just as important as wanting to own pearls someday.
Right.
But if it's not as important, then you pinch off of it. A better word is you steal from yourself.
Absolutely.
So I tell people, if you want to save $100 and you put $5 a week away, or you tell yourself, every time I get a $5 bill, I'm going to stick it to the side.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to stick with that.
Right.
Because in the absence of sticking with that, you're cheating yourself again.
Right.
To thine own self be true.
Right.
So you have to make savings just as important as anything else. Talking on a cell phone, anything else that you do.
Yeah, because you know you have this cell phone bill every month.
Right. And you pay it.
And you pay it.
Because you want to keep talking.
You want to keep talking. But you should be able to put at least $50 away. Well, some people, maybe 10. Maybe 10 is what they could
You
do.
know what?
But do something.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
You start where you are, to thine own self be true, and then you increase that. One of the ways to do it is to start saving change. You know, it's amazing how much change you get.
Yes, yes.
But it takes
yes.
you back to when you were a child. You had a piggy bank.
Yes.
Or a pickle. Listen, if you grew up in Mississippi, you had a old pickle jar, or old pig feet jar that you cut a hole in and you dropped the money inside of it.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So many people think they can't save. Do you ever get these people? Do they come to you on a fixed income?
All the time. And now I tell people, if you're going to have a house cleaner come over, you're not supposed to clean the house first. Some people clean the house for the house cleaner to come over, right? You clean up before the house cleaner comes, right? So my thing is, come see me while you're in your situation, and if I can help you out of your current situation, imagine what I can do when you come in there with a few dollars.
Right.
So I encourage people to come out and at least, if not me, go see some financial advisors.
Absolutely. We have a call.
Okay.
Mr. Amos is on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Perryman. Good morning, Mr. Lidell. This
Good.
is Reginald Amos. How
Yes,
are you?
sir. Recognize that voice, Chief.
Hey, all right. Hey, look, I just want to thank you, as I always do. My financial success, mine and my daughter's, is because of you. I've known you over 10 years. I put my assets in your hands, and we have not looked back. So, Miss Perryman, I appreciate you having them on today. And I think people, the viewing audience, should get pencil and paper and attend his seminars. And Mr. Lidell, I'll see you on the 18th of April.
All right. Thank you so much.
Have a great one.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Chief. Retirement planning, replacing good debt with bad versus bad debt.
Right.
A lot of people don't understand what bad debt is,
Right.
but a lot of people carry it. Could you explain it?
All right. So if you purchase those pearls, back to the pearls again, if you purchase those pearls to host a show, go on an interview, do something very special, then that's good debt. Especially if you bought them on credit. Let me use a dress. How about that? If a lady buys a dress for interview purposes, it's the perfect way to spend good money.
Right.
Because if you have to put it on a credit card, you're going to pay for it over time. If you bought a pair of shoes that you can't wear anywhere but just to look hip-hop and to look cool, if that's important to you, then that's okay. But if you bought those shoes and you've got 10 pair of those shoes, but you don't have 2 pair of interview shoes, and you get
Right.
called back for the second interview, and you have to wear the same shoes twice, not anything wrong with it if that's all you got.
Right.
But at least look good for where you're trying to go. Look, in other words, dress the part. You should
Right.
look successful based on where you want to go.
Right.
That's good debt. But just looking cool 10 different 2 different ways is,
Yeah.
and you had to charge that too, that's bad debt.
And here's the other thing, since you mentioned clothes. Clothes are so cyclical. They come
yeah.
back around. All you have to do is keep the clothes, and you'll look and you say, God, I already have that.
Right. Keep your clothes and maintain your weight.
Yeah, that's the other
Helps a little
thing.
bit.
That's the other thing. You go, wait a minute. Did you ever see the movie Father of the Bride, the
Yes.
old one?
Not the original.
No, the original one, Spencer Tracy, and he was determined to save money, so he said, "My old cutaway, I could still have it on." He called his wife up, and he couldn't breathe. And then he went, "See what I did?" And he did his arm like that. The whole back
Everything
split.
came out. Oh,
The whole
man.
back split. So yes, you got to keep that. You got to keep that weight down. Okay, retirement planning. So bad debt is just getting something to get.
Yeah, getting it to get it. It
And
has no
charging
purpose,
it.
has no meaning, and charging it.
Right.
And paying for it over time, paying for it 3 times
Yes.
what it's worth because
One
you
thing
paid
about
interest.
charge account bills now, they tell you how much it's going to cost you if you hold this debt over a certain period of time, and
Which
they
is
didn't
good.
always
They didn't have to. That was a federal law that made them do that. It was a mandate. Now, we've gotten so accustomed to swiping the debit card, swiping the credit card, that we don't realize how much we're spending. It's a psychological thing. And at many of my seminars, I tell people how easy it is to get inside their head. Everybody thinks that they're guarded. They're not guarded. They're so wide open. I know you're the gracious host of this show, but I want to just do it real quick.
Okay.
Okay. How do you spell spot, like a dirty place on your clothing? Spot.
SPOT.
All right. Once again, because you're a teacher, spot. Spell spot.
SPOT.
All right. One last time. Spot.
SPOT.
And what do you do when you come to a green light?
Stop.
At a green light.
Oh,
I know it. And I
I know,
apologize,
I
gracious
know.
host,
I
but I
know.
wanted to show people how easy it is to
To
convince
fall,
them
right.
of something that they're
Right.
not. Because everything, trust me, marketing is programming.
but how do
programming,
you know I
programming.
don't stop at green light? No, I'm just kidding.
You might.
No, or run red ones. No,
There you
I'm
go. You just never know.
You're right. You're absolutely
So
right.
marketing is programming. So subliminal messaging is happening all the time.
all over the place. All
All
over
the time.
place.
So you just have to understand that we all are victims to it. So sometimes you go in, you go shopping, you go to the grocery store. That's a great one. You never go shopping when you're hungry, not the
I
grocery store,
know.
because you pick
God.
up everything.
God, I did that two
And
weeks
why,
ago.
why buy two for $1 if you only need one, and the other one's going to spoil in your refrigerator?
Right. Right.
So you spend the
Absolutely.
59 cents
Well,
and
they
save the
call
others.
that lost leader that gets you into the store that we have sugar for $1.59 just to get you in there.
That's right.
And then once you're in there,
Oh,
they
you're
know
gonna
you
walk down the aisles to find that sugar,
all the
and you're
aisles.
gonna pull stuff.
Right.
So being wise and understanding that you're in an environment where that it is my job to sell you something. It's your job to sell something. I mean, when you have this show, Deputy Chief Amos called in. He watches this show from Florida because he lives in Florida.
Right.
So there are people who are following this show all over, and they're following the messages that you're sending. Well, you're messaging also. You're sending a positive message out there about what's possible.
Right. And I find another thing that people don't understand money.
No, there's no courses
A
being
lot
taught
of
on
people,
how to understand money.
and especially our people,
Yeah.
because a lot of times maybe we're the first ones to have some sustainable income or something like that, but we don't quite understand it to make it sustain itself.
And the other piece of it is we tell too many people how much money we make.
Oh,
And then because which is easier, to go to work every day or to do this? It's much easier to do this. There used to be a pride in our community where you only did this when you absolutely had to. Whereas now, that's some people's source of revenue. They're smart enough to figure out how to think you out of your money.
absolutely.
So
That's their job.
That's their job. So I'm not faulting that, but if we can do more to teach people about money and how money really works. If you have an investment, Deputy Chief Amos just said it. If you have an investment and you turn it over to an advisor and we invest your money, now your money's working. It's not sitting in a bank earning
Yes.
little or nothing. It's now working. It's generating revenue for you.
Well, I have a confession to make. I didn't really understand money too much because, well, not that my mother didn't, but she, raised a couple of kids and so forth and so on. But my son, what he did after college, he came and he substituted taught for a while. And there was this man at his job who started talking to him about money and understanding money. Well, last month was his daughter's birthday. She turned 6, and I gave her a piece of stock from
Okay.
Disney
Awesome.
because I believe in giving stock for something you like.
Right.
Because I got my other grandson a piece of Apple stock several years
Okay.
ago, and that has increased in
That's right.
value. But when I told my son, I said, I'm going to get her a piece of stock, he said, we already have stock for her. I said, wow.
Right.
He knew that,
Right,
knew to do
right.
that. But it was, he understands money.
Right.
And that's what I know in our community. We need to be people like you to inform us about understanding money.
Now, you just described Coaching for Billions.
Right. Tell us about
Right.
it.
Coaching for Billions is where we come together and we talk about money. Whatever level you are, we talk about your dreams and your visions. And the Coaching for Billions was originally created through Elizabeth Ann Atkins and I were
I
coaching
know
each other.
Elizabeth, yes.
She was coaching me on writing my next book.
Oh,
I'm
great.
coaching her on wealth management and selling her products. So she's got
She's
lots
a
of
great
books.
writer.
Right. So together we were talking about. She came to me and said, "I want to be a billionaire," and I said, "I'll help you if you help me become one too. I don't want to be left out." So she
Absolutely.
said she would. So Coaching for Billions came about through a synergy that we formed. As a result of that synergy, we decided to open up that whole piece to other people because who can you truly tell your dreams and aspirations to and know that they're not going to frown on them or tell you what you can't do? I used to have a best friend. I love him. Love him to life, as Bishop Ellis likes to say. However, he says, every time I told him an idea, I'm going to play the devil's advocate. I don't need no devil. I need somebody to tell me how to do this.
Right.
So I stopped telling him things. So
Right.
you end up, and he's what I call one of my best friends. If I can't talk to my best friend, then who
Yeah,
can
but
you go
there's
to
some
knowing?
people who tell you what you can't. They're just, it's like that's their
That's their
job.
calling. That's their
job.
destiny.
I mean, because you tell them, said, look, I have this idea. Oh, it'll never work,
Right.
I mean, some people you tell the upside and they always have the downside.
downside.
And people have to recognize that. Think about in your life the people you tell something to and then they,
Right. So Coaching for Billions is designed to have a group of people, ideally 1,000 people, who support whatever idea you have. So
Right.
you have your poetry. You have a different idea, and you got people who you know are going to show up and be
Right.
there to pour into your spirit,
Right.
buy your products, support you. And my goal is to try and get that dollar that comes into our community and stays about 15 seconds
Yeah.
to stay a few days.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to invite that dollar to stay around for a while. Let's pass it amongst ourselves. So it's like an
And what's
online
that
community.
called again? The book.
Coaching for, living the infinity life. But the idea is coaching for billions.
Okay.
So coaching for billions, because
Infinity
it's a mindset.
is boundless.
Boundless. Yep. So it's a mindset, and you just said it. If you have somebody telling you what you can't do all the time versus people who tell you you
Now,
can do it.
sometimes there are parents who you would tell, this is what I want to do. And so many parents say, but that's not practical. That word practical is a word that's in some parents' community. I mean, in the community of some older people, because somebody says, because they didn't have the dreams to do it.
Right.
And they're scared for you. Sometimes they think it's in your best interest, but it isn't always.
Sometimes they program their kids to be failures just from doing that.
Just from doing that. Absolutely.
My daughter came to me. She's 5'4", 5'5", and she said, "Dad, I want to run track this year," but she's got the perfect basketball body.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't ask why you want to run track. I went to college on a track scholarship. I said, and I coached. I was the first female coach at Florida A&M University.
You were the first.
I was the first person to coach women only at
Oh,
Florida
okay.
A&M University.
When you
Female
said you were the
coach.
first female
I wasn't
coach,
a female. No,
I
none
know.
of that going on here. None of that. So I looked at her and I said, okay, if I'm as good as I think I am, I need to figure out what event she can do. So I said, what event do you want to do? Well, she watched Lauren Williams. We were in Helsinki when Lauren ran in the Olympics, got second in 2004. My daughter watched her in Helsinki in 2005, and she's traveled to Berlin, all over the world to watch Lauren Williams, who was also a client.
Yes.
And I said, no, why does she want to run 100 meters? So I said, okay, we need to strengthen her body so that she can do hurdles versus 100 meters. Because as a hurdler, you sprint, and you have to do your technical. You have to jump. So I figured we'd give her a chance to see what winning is like, and then she may never do basketball. She may say, I love hurdles.
Right.
So I shocked her mom. We went in the basement. We practiced. We set up the hurdles. And she ran over a couple of them. And I put little baby chairs there first because you get to take baby steps first.
Yes.
So she started jumping over the baby steps. And then I put a real hurdle up. And she jumped over the hurdle. And I videoed it. And we didn't have her mom watching. So I let her mom see the video. And she was like, oh, my God. How did you do that in 3 weeks? Well, you build up to it. Because just like wealth coaching, you don't have to come to me with wealth. It'd be nice if you did. But if you come with a desire, a dream in your heart, then it's my goal to take that desire and tell you how to do it. Lady came in the other day. She said, Mr. Dell, I'm in school for marketing, but I think I want to change to psychology. I said, I got nothing against psychology. I said, one of the guys I know, Dr. Naeem Akbar, great psychologist, but he did not make his money in psychology. He made his money speaking, and I was his agent.
Right.
So I said, let's talk about that. You got 8 more years to spend in school? Oh, I didn't want to. I'm an older student. I said, but marketing. I said, do you know the weakness of every small business? And she said, what?
Is marketing.
I said, it's marketing. So if you got 1,000 small businesses to pay you $84 a month, you will make $1 million at the end of the year because that's $1,000 from each business. And you can hire interns and other people to work with you because if they don't have a marketing budget or if they don't have a marketing department, they need a marketing representative. So I said, if you finish in marketing, you can get to where you're trying to get to a lot quicker. But if you want to do psychology, I said, you look I said, your salary at your current job is equal to what a psychologist makes with a PhD after all those years of school. And she's like, I know it. I saw it on the internet, but I didn't want to believe it. I said, believe it.
Believe it.
Believe
It be
it.
true.
Yeah,
It be true.
it be
Let
true.
me ask you a couple more questions before we have to go. This time is going so quickly. The time is going so quickly. You talk about investing in real estate.
Yes. Detroit, real estate. And there are people all over the world looking. Detroit real estate is one of those things that is a jewel right now.
Yes.
I bought a house for $5,000 a year ago on the east side.
Esau.
The house needed no work, nothing. I put a Section 8 person in that house. She loved it. She called me telling me she wanted the house before. We didn't put a sign out. Her sister lives down the street. She's been in that house. She's taking care of the house. Break even for me was 10 months. After that is just pure profit. Now that's housing. There's also commercial buildings up for sale there's a huge one that's being foreclosed on right now called the Fisher Building
Yes,
and the
I
condo.
know.
It's going to go to auction.
I know.
Wouldn't it be nice if we bought that?
I would love to buy that because I'm a theater major. You know,
All right. Well, believe it or not, it is possible. We're putting together a group to buy that.
That's it.
We'll bid on it. I mean, there's no guarantee we're going to get it. And everybody
know, but-
everybody asked me, well, what makes you think that some of the names that you hear in the community all the time that are buying up buildings in downtown? Let me tell you something. If I have a reputation for buying buildings, don't you think they've already come to me and asked me for that?
Right.
So they've already come to me and asked me, do I want it? And I said no, because my projects are over here. So when you look at the wealthy people around this city and they let this thing go to auction, trust me, it's because somebody else is supposed to have it. And I look at this way. Why not me?
Why not you?
Why not you? Why not us?
Why not me?
Right.
Yes.
So let's make it real. Let's make it happen. At least let's get in the game.
Yeah. I mean, they always say you can't win if you're not in.
You never win if you're not in.
Never win if you're not in.
And as a collective, we represent hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
Someone asked the question, who's the wealthiest African American in town? None of us know the answer to that. But I know this, if we have 1,000 people putting their money together, that's the wealthiest group in town.
That's it. That's it.
So not since Marcus Garvey have we done a good job of raising money in our community.
Absolutely. Now, how would people get in touch with you?
Okay. They can go to our website at elewealth.com, elewealth.com, or give us a call, 248-356-6555. That's 248-356-6555.
248, say it again.
356-6555.
Now, you have an event coming up or some events.
Right.
Can you tell the audience about that?
Yeah, on our website, you'll see a number of seminars coming up. All the rest of March are totally booked up, but April is available. Sign up for an April seminar. Come in. Again, elewealth.com, www.elewealth.com. Wealth spelled the traditional way. If you need help with that one, we got a long ways to go.
A long. So tell me this. What are some of the things you're going to talk about quickly at that seminar?
Yeah, we always talk about retirement because that's the thing that brought us. That's the horse that brought us to the game. We also talk about investing, the different kinds of investments that are available, from real estate to stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Apple is one of my favorites, and it's done very well. So we talk about different investments, why, who should be in them, what does risk tolerance mean. So we just kind of talk people through. It's real talk. It's not one of those over your head. I talk as if I'm talking to my grandmother who had a third grade education. So I just keep it real.
Right. Excellent. Just totally excellent. Well, I've gotten some of the things out of the way that I wanted to talk to you about because I think that I believe in listening to anybody who knows more than you do. And we mentioned wheelhouse.
Right.
That's just not in my wheelhouse.
Okay.
But I'd like to know more about it.
Right.
We can't close ourselves off to information, especially the type of information that you give, because I believe that only the educated are free, yet there are a lot of educated people who don't know anything about money.
Right. And money's one of those things you have to personally get to know.
And
you have to have a personal relationship with money.
Golly.
A personal one.
Oh, no, I guess me and money haven't been friends for a long time. But I thank you so much. I love that shirt. I was going to tell you, that shirt is just banging.
This is for you. I dressed with you in mind this morning because we have casual Friday, so normally I have jeans on Friday.
Oh, all right.
However, today I'm going to be dressed up.
I almost wore gray, so we would have been...
we still look good together.
In sync.
And by the way, I got your red right here.
All right, right.
And thank you so much. Thank you again for having me.
And you volunteered to be on Table Talk one of our times, and we really have invigorating discussion. And ladies and gentlemen, remember that Table Talk comes on right after this show, and we have some very interesting topics for you. So, Mr. Lidell, thank you so much, so much. And remember, the way you reach him is
248-356-6555 or elewealth.com.
So thank you, and I'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Mr. James Tatum.